think the importance of having discussions and sharing and exchanging ideas is largely to do with the group, and that as a group there are various levels of knowledge, education, intellectual capability, and experience among the individuals. As a group coming together, having the discussions, exchanging the ideas, and allowing that communication, we're elevating the group as a whole, and that benefits the entire group. With the market of free ideas type of thing, using the farmer's market analogy, I think it's important to consider who are the consumers at the market and who are the ones running the stalls. And I mean that in the context of the various levels of education, experience, and intellectual capacity. Because obviously we live in a world where there is a very wide gap between the most educated and the least educated, and I'm sure that there is as much of a gap in the intellectual capacity of people, whether that comes down to biology or experience or whatever. I don't think anyone should be inherently detrimented for whatever spot they find themselves in on that scale. When it comes to this farmers market and the idea of the analogy of bringing heroin to the farmers market, I think it's important to have the conversation and to discuss it, and to allow everyone to experience the journey of understanding, of getting from where they are to the point where they understand why the heroin is bad. Because certainly, yes, we don't want our children going anywhere near heroin, but at the same time, we're not hiding the fact that heroin exists from our children. With the market of free ideas, having this farmers market set up where, good things can be purchased and exchanged, it's not happening in an environment where heroin can't be talked about. And so certainly heroin shouldn't be at the stall. The heroin shouldn't be provided as an option for purchase. But that doesn't mean that there's no mention of it, there's no explanation of it, there's no context of it, and why it's bad. Like, because as our kids grow up, we explain to them, we talk to them and we tell them and we educate them. Yes, heroin is bad. This is what it is. This is what it does, and these are the detrimental effects from it, and how it impacts your life, and it's not just about your health. It's about your psyche, about your choices, about how you affect other people through those choices. And that gets explained. And I think it's interesting with the idea of certain things becoming dogma. I've never found myself to be accepting of anything as dogma. I've always found myself to be questioning, okay, here is the consensus. Why is this the consensus? And I've always explored those curiosities within myself to come to an understanding of what the pros and cons are for each explanation, and why it is the way it is. And when it comes right down to it, like, anything that causes harm to someone, I find it very difficult to say that that's the way it should be, because it's causing harm. And I think it would be fairly straightforward to be able to rationalize to someone why causing harm is not good and is not beneficial. And so these thoughts about, like, should someone be bringing, phrenology to a university talks, like, I mean, it shouldn't be brought up as a proposal as to, how we should view the world moving forward. It should be brought up and discussed as something that happened, and something that we've learnt from. Here's the thing that we experienced. Here are the decisions that were made and the reasons behind them, and here's what we learnt as a result of that. These were the outcomes, and this is how it affected people in these ways and those ways. And I think it's very important to not allow things like phrenology, things like the Holocaust, things like British colonialism. I think it's important to not allow those things to become forgotten. Because then we can't be mindful of patterns that lead to repeating it, in order for us to avoid making the same mistakes again. We have to be aware of the mistakes in the first place. And so I think it's important to keep the record, and keep the understanding of these ideas alive in the conversation, moving forward. Because talking about the clip of the original video of the Nazi the Nazi ideas, the people who are proposing, like, anyone who is of the mindset that the Nazi ideas, that those that objectively harmful ideas should be brought into the marketplace of ideas and openly discussed and talked about and considered as proposals and possibilities and how things should be. The first thing that comes to my mind is that they clearly don't have an understanding of how those decisions are affecting the other people. There are underlying beliefs that support those ideas, which may need to be challenged. And I think it's the entire solution is not simply not allowing the ideas to be brought up. That the entire solution incorporates adjusting those beliefs and addressing those the discrepancies in the values that those people hold, and you know, looking into the reasons why they hold those values. And certainly there is going to be a percentage of people who are harmful towards others innately. We are we are biological creatures. We are an expression of our genes, and some people will certainly have predispositions in certain areas. But that's not the whole story. There's also going to be an element of education, of experience, and I think if we don't, at the very least, try to put the effort into educating in a way that is able to reach those people, we're simply brushing them off to the side and disregarding them, which is in itself, some kind of a poetic symmetry of the way that they brush aside and discard the people that they deem as, lesser, just by being born in a particular place or from a particular people. And it would be, that wouldn't add up in my perspective. I don't think that would add up. It wouldn't math right to me. I think if we're truly trying to move toward a place where we say that every person is worthy of value and respect and consideration, then we truly need to make an effort to educate, I wholeheartedly believe that every problem comes back to education, to educate people, to help them understand the why, help them to understand why those beliefs are harmful, why those beliefs are not beneficial. And I don't perceive it as a simple task. It's certainly very complex, very challenging, and I don't believe it's going to be possible to reach everyone. And this is where we come into the point where, I haven't figured it out. Like, I don't know what the end result is going to look like. And I don't think it would be right for anyone to be able to assume what the end result should be, because we are growing as a species. We are still evolving, and we evolve much more rapidly in the cultural and social aspects than we do on the physical ones. But that doesn't make it any less impactful on the way we live our lives and the way we experience the world. And I have a feeling that it's just going to become more and more rapid, and there may come a point where the differences between the two ends of the scale just become so large that reconciliation is not possible at all, that could be the way that things turn out. I think in terms of the issue that was raised, in terms of you can't sell heroin at the farmers market, no, you can't. That would be a bad thing. It would be bad to present the heroin as something, as a consumable for sale. But we do need to educate ourselves as to why heroin can't be sold at the farmers market. And that is where I think we are able to take the steps to keep the idea alive, not in the sense of something that we should be doing or a way that we should be behaving, but in a sense of record keeping and learning from our lessons and not letting it be forgotten.